Hi, this is Ardek from Carach, and you're watching Richard Metal Fan.
Hey, what's up, guys? Bringing you guys another episode of Richard Metal Fan Interviews, calling from Zoom, and I'm have round two with Ardek from Carach Angren. How are you doing today, man? Thanks for coming back on.
Yeah, thanks for having me again. I'm great.
Yeah, it's great to be able to talk with you. And thank you for giving some new Carach Angren music. So you recently released this new EP, The Cult of Kariba, which is out now through Season of Mist Records, is an absolutely kick-ass EP. So how was the whole like writing and recording process of it, and how did the idea of this EP come to be and that good stuff?
Thanks a lot, first of all. And we've been working on it quite some time. uh, Even like shortly after the release of Frankenstein, we were trying to tour, but it was hard with everything happening at that point in time. And yeah, we found out that our original album Lammendam, that story, had more depth to it. There were more like there was a spin-offs, and like we started researching, and we found out about this witch Kariba, and we thought, hey, it would be cool to revisit this era, our first album, and it would be cool to make an EP because it's a bit shorter and more compact. And yeah, that's how it all started. Because yeah, people have been asking us like, why an EP? And it's really just because the story fits in just those 5 songs. It would have felt weird to put more songs and just inflate the whole thing beyond, yeah, what makes sense.
All right, all right, all right. And would you say this is almost kind of like a concept album or an EP in a way?
It is, yeah, it's exactly that. It's a concept album, it's just a bit shorter. But for us, it's exactly the same because, yeah, we had to write the songs, record everything, do all the graphics, make photos, videos. So the whole process is the same. It's just a little bit shorter in length, and it's a full story. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I've definitely seen like some of the music videos that you all do. It's very like very theatrical. Is there a way you can make? Do you ever thought about like maybe like expressing like it in like different media, like in like movie, make like short movies and stuff?
Well, I did some short films myself as a composer. So on a side note, but yeah, I mean, some of these videos that we've done, they're almost like short films, and the whole planning beyond is like insane. And but it has never really been like a goal. We just like to make crazy videos, especially like the last one with the horror at the end. And so yeah, we mainly focus on that. Yeah.
Yeah, and with the release of this EP, is this musically, is it gonna be like something like Hold Fans Over, where we wait for a follow up to Frankensteinish try to maintain us, or is this just kind of like a one off kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, this is for us our next release, and like I underestimated the whole thing about an EP that some people think like, oh, this is just like a little stepping stone between, and this is like, or it's just a bunch of remixes. So I think I underestimated that. For me and for us, it was always like, yeah, this is our next album essentially. So now we have to go back to the drawing table and start all over again. And so yeah, that's gonna take some time again. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Because when anytime when the bands do like EPs, I always feel like it's kind of like an appetizer, or sort of like if you like compare it to like a movie, it's almost like a trailer for the next film.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's an option. Yeah, but for us, this was like there were a lot of work, and everything had, especially because I mean we never put like filler songs or anything, but on an EP, it's even more concentrated. Like if 2 songs would be not so good, the whole thing would fall apart. So it was a lot of pressure. Like this is a short story, and it has to really work. Like we have to really make it fit, and so it was even more difficult than an album sometimes in a way. Yeah.
All right. And of course, Carach Angren has been around for a little over 22 years. Like, what for you personally, what would be like a bucket list goal for Carach Angren? Like, what would be for you personally be like, man, wouldn't it be awesome if we did that?
Oh, good question. Maybe like play a full stadium, something like that. Like, I mean, we had so many goals. Like when we started, we were so young. Like we didn't even have an album. Like we were rehearsing in a caravan back then, and it was just our dream to have a CD in the shop. And then that happened, and then was like, wouldn't it be great to play a festival? Wow. And then that happened multiple times. So we've already been very, blessed in that sense to have achieved a lot of stuff.
All right. And kind of want to talk about a couple like anniversaries because this year does mark 20 years of Ethereal Veiled Existence, your first EP. When coming to making that EP, B, did you feel like you kind of like were onto something? Like you wanted to the sort of like keep have that vision of like this is how the band will sound like going forward with the main full length albums?
It's a good question. Well, when we started, I remember that we wanted to have something out there like as soon as possible, and that's when we did the Chase Fault story. And that's when the idea came, like, why don't we just make a couple of songs that are connected? Because it's in a sense easier and also cool to have like an overarching theme. And for us, that was not something super original. It was just like, hey, this is just the way to do it. And then we did that again on Ethereal Field Existence about the Ghost of Rain and Mall. And people started saying already then, like, hey, this is original, this is cool, and you guys have an original approach. And we did everything ourselves back then. I recorded it in the caravan we had and mixed it. And I remember like going to parties and checking the mix of Ethereal Field Existence, like how's it sound, and like we had limited equipment back then. It was expensive to record with a computer, like it was not like now. And I remember I had to wait like 6 or 7 weeks for like this sound card I had saved up for that had to come via Germany. So it's good memories. But yeah, I think that sort of became the blueprint. Like if you look at this EP, it's almost the same. Like, and we feel the same and we do it the same way. Like we call and we talk about it, and it has an intro. It morphs into the next song. It's same on Ethereal Field Existence with the Ghost of Rain and All. And so almost nothing has changed in that sense, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Think about it, but we have always loved to do this and we still love it. So, and back then we didn't have an audience, so to speak. We were not known. And we just got the fulfillment and the enjoyment of making that just from ourselves, like, and we still have that. And of course, we're super grateful that so many people like it, and that's really great. But yeah, it's still the same. Yeah.
Yeah. And this year also marks 15 years of Death Came Through a Phantom Ship, which I definitely feel like you guys were like onto something making that, because personally that's like my favorite album from you guys, and that was really what the album that kind of like latched onto me and got me into y'all. So what was sort of like that? Because I feel like you guys were like really onto something compared to like Lamadam and sort of like those like like of course the first EP.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing was that it was so different because it was a very different story, but it was of course linked to the Netherlands. And also the sound shaped differently. We used a lot of real violins and things like that. And but again, it was a story, so we focused on the story, like how can we tell the story? And because it was so different from Lammendam with a haunting in the forest, like automatically the story sort of dictates what you're gonna do, like how you're gonna write. Like it was more like adventurous, that album,
Yeah.
And yeah, that I think for me it opened up, like every time we do an album, we can basically make a movie. You can go all kinds of directions with this. Like you can just have this nautical theme, but then you can go back to horror stories. We have like, even abuse, things like that. With Frankenstein, it went into the whole different direction. Now we went back to Lammendam again. So I think, and it was also a little bit, you never know how people react, because that game was very different from Lammendam. It's like, our people are going to like that? Because usually bands, they stick to the same sound and do exactly the same. But this was very different. So I think we showed like, yeah, we basically can make movies, sonic movies.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, lastly, this year does also mark 10 years of This Is No Fairy Tale, which is sort of right around that era is when I first discovered you guys. And you sort of mentioning like taking a different approach with the release of that. Did you feel like you wanted to take a different approach to, of course, with that and Dance and Laugh Amongst the Rotten and so on and so forth?
Yeah, we don't like to just repeat ourselves because it's not fun. Like you
Unless
have
if
to
you're
understand that-
AC/DC.
what?
Unless
Yeah,
if you're AC/DC, they keep making the same shit over and over, but people love it.
yeah, no, but every band is also different in that
Yeah.
sense, and some bands work super fast. They release something and another thing, and but we are more like, yeah, we have to have something that pulls us in. Like, there are so many horror stories, but I read a lot of them, and sometimes on Wikipedia or whatever. But not everything connects with you. You know what I mean? And it has to be something that connects with both of us in that sense. So yeah, with Disney Fairy Tale, it was like Hansel and Gretel, and Seragor said like, I want to do like this modern approach, like this really vicious approach to it. I want to write that in the lyrics. It's like, yeah, it sounds great. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And we started working on it, and that's sort of the thing every time. Like we have this blank sheet of paper now, also like, what's it going to be? And then we start brainstorming, and until something pulls us in, and it can be anything. Yeah.
Yeah. And kind of going back into the EP, I sort of love the song It Kom Ut Het Graf. It's the first song I've heard that used to sing in Dutch. So what's sort of like the inspiration for that song?
Well, that was an odd song in this sense because I wrote the song almost in 1 or 2 days. It just came to me, the main melody, during once when I woke up, and I just went into the studio and wrote it, and then it sounded very industrial already. I had some modern elements in there. And I was thinking, could this be for Carach? So I always, if I have the slightest doubt, I send it to Sergio, like, what do you think? And he said, yeah, this is great. And he said, I have these Dutch lyrics. I've been working on the idea for years, and sometimes I yet mentioned it to me. And he said it could work for this one. So he went off and put the lyrics on and wrote them. And it came back, and it sounded just gruesome, and it sort of glued really well with the song. We didn't immediately have a place for it in this concept, but later it fitted really well because it's like an sort of an uninvited guest, both sonically but also lyrically on the EP, because it's an early attacker of the witch Kariba that comes back from the grave for revenge. And I think it's kind of cool because the EP builds up with this more typical Lamendamish horror style, like it's very fast and orchestral, and then the more industrial approach comes in, which is like strange, like what's happening, and it's because this uninvited guest comes back with this revenge story.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, and of course, with having like Dutch lyrics, is that in a way almost make like for you or Saragor make it like a very kind of like personal song in a way?
Yeah, 100%. Also because we come from the same region in the Netherlands, and we have a lot of like dialect. And when he speaks Dutch, there is some dialect in there. So I mean, it sounds very close to home when he sings it. And also some of our friends were like, why is he singing like that? It didn't really sit well with them. Yeah, but I think it's awesome. And there's a whole different window of expression with that because like he uses words and like, the way he speaks and he screams. And I think he put it to a next level there. Like also from whispers to extreme screams to grunge growls, everything that Sergio makes Sergio so great is there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And would you ever consider like doing like a full record in Dutch?
Could be an idea, maybe. I mean, this was the first time, and it was something new, and we love that. So maybe, yeah.
Yeah. And talking about like your keyboard playing, I think we might have talked about this the last time you spoke, but I feel like the keyboards in the Carach Angren definitely have a very melodic approach. But so when it comes to like laying down like your parts, do you need to hear the music in order to lay down the keyboard parts, or do you usually have like a whole like keyboard part written and then everybody can write according to that?
Well, I write most of the parts, so I start usually on piano, and what I write might end up as guitar or might end up in the bass. I'm just recording everything into the computer, drums, guitars, everything, and then sort of start changing things like, hey, maybe this violin has to be kicked out, or this violin is now the guitar part, or vice versa. So that's how I shape things. And usually Seragor comes in and he ups the whole lead guitars. Like if you take a song like Resurrection, I wrote it from start to finish with pretty basic guitars, but then he came in and he took the guitars and made, both guitars like leads and like new melodies, and he upped the whole thing. So that's usually how we work, and yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and everybody always says like piano and stuff is very melodic driven instrument, but I just think that's ridiculous because you could definitely capture like different like emotions. I feel you could just feel like aggression, you could feel sorrow, like different types of vibes when it comes to like your keyboard playing. So when it comes to like it's inspiration for your parts, is that almost like a reflection of like an emotion that you're feeling with at the time?
Yeah, and I go into the story, like for example, but a lot of like the heavier riffs, I really started on piano and they ended up as guitars. If you go back to That Came through Phantom Ship, you have the song Departure Towards a Nautical Curse. It has this dun da da 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 dun. Like that's like I started that on the low register of the piano. Like I don't know if you hear it, it's like
Like that keyboard on the side.
that's how it started. And then of course when you play it on guitar it's super heavy, but like the piano is melodic, but it is also very aggressive in the low register. So I start hammering a lot in there usually, and yeah, that's how the inspiration comes. But usually the story is like the driver. Like you think, for example, this man is at sea, he's angry, he wants revenge, he wants to own the sea and the world. How does he feel? How does it sound? And then you start going into the piano or the guitar, like, and or in this case with the resurrection, it's like there is a secret cult. They're hiding. No one knows about them. What does it sound like? And then this mysterious kind of things come out. So that's really the cool thing when you are making stories. You don't have to have a personal feeling like something that's happening in your life right now, but you can go into that mode. Like, what would it feel like if you're in the forest and someone's chasing you? Like, holy shit. And then you start like, oh, you start writing parts, and then, yeah, that's what it would sound like. So that's kind of cool with the way we do things.
Right. And then the final question I wanted to ask you is of course like not to pigeonhole, but Carach Angren is a black metal band. But I'm always curious, like what makes a black metal band black metal? Because there's always a ton of black metal bands, but I mean, you guys sound nothing like Cradle of Filth. Cradle of Filth sounds nothing like Dimmu Borgir. They sound like nothing like Old Man's Child and so on and so forth. But for you, like what makes a black metal band black metal?
Very good question. I think we also evolved a lot. Like if I think about black metal, I think about bands like Dark Funeral, Marduk from the early days. Like those were the bands I listened to a lot, and they are very aggressive. Like, and for me, it's like blast beats, a very fast, tremolo picking, and then some melodic stuff going on. And I think we are more in the generation afterwards where we took things into the more symphonic realm and stuff like that. But if you would analyze our music, it would be also have like industrial parts. It has death metal parts, like the thing that I just played, like it's more like death metal to me. So I think it's very difficult to define that. And also, like some bands are like our mission, if you would say like that, we just want to make cool albums like horror stories, but the other bands, they have more maybe like a very different outlook, like they want to achieve different things through their music or have a different message. So I think it's very difficult to put all of that under like, yeah, this is black metal. And no, I think you have to define it more. You can say like, yeah, maybe we are more symphonic black metal or horror metal with other influences, but I think the whole genre thing is becoming difficult these days.
Yeah, there's going to be
Yeah.
like another subgenre coming with living next. It's always like
Yeah.
naming like species of plants.
And yeah, it's exactly, and we have this tendency, we like to categorize things, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I mean, with us too, like people might say with Frankenstein, oh, now they're almost a rock band. But now we have this EP, and
Yeah.
it's super fast again. And oh yeah, now it's black metal again. So yeah, it's very hard. And
Yeah, get confusing and annoying as well.
yeah, and also like, but I think you have to do right to the different eras. Like there were bands from the 80s and 90s, and they were doing different things, and they were laying some groundwork, and I do respect that.
Yeah.
And it would be weird to say like, yeah, we're doing exactly the same thing, because it's not. Like we're doing different things,
Yeah.
and it still can be cool. Like we tour together with bands from those eras, and it's really cool. It complements each other. But I understand, for example, there are people that listen to that kind of early day black metal that's much more raw and aggressive, and they don't like ours, and that's perfectly fine. I mean, and vice versa. People that maybe think, oh, this Carach Angren music is more appealing, but that more raw stuff I don't really connect with, and I think that's all fine.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And kind of in the end to sort of wrap things up, what's next for Carach Angren? You got the new EP. EP has been out now. Is just anything else with the band that you would like to plug in terms of like tours and stuff, if you're allowed to say?
Yeah, now we're going to go back to Europe next year summer. We have a lot of festivals coming up, and with this new EP, we're trying to book new tours. Yeah,
Yeah.
so we'll keep
Anything in
you
the States
updated.
soon?
Hopefully.
Yeah, we're waiting for you.
Yeah, great. Yeah, hope to be back soon.
Yeah, but thanks, Ardek, for this conversation. It's great to be able to chat with you. There's just any final words you want to say to the viewers that are watching this to close this out?
Yeah, thanks for the support, and check out the new EP, of course.
Awesome. So everybody, Ardek from Carach Angren, and we'll see you next time.